Hello, my name is Ricky C. Simmons. This podcast is called Look Like Somebody. The reason why I chose to do a podcast is because I've had a lot of adversity in my life, and I've made so many bad choices. I just don't want to see anyone else make these bad choices. One thing about my podcast, you never know what to expect because I'm going to have interesting guests. I'm also going to use a lot of humor, and we're going to talk about some controversial things as well because, adversity strikes, and we just got to learn how to deal with it in a productive way. Positive mental attitude is real important. Accountability is real important. And treating people the way you want to be treated. These are just some of the things that we'll be touching on. And I will promise you this. I've already made enough mistakes for everybody that I know. So this podcast is going to be a podcast to help people not make the bad choices I made. And for example, I'm a motivational speaker as well. So I travel around the country speaking. And one of the things I always tell my audiences is, I'm a genius. Oh, no one ever told y'all that? Oh, I am so smart. I figured out how to go from the NFL to prison 4 times, and I went to 10 treatment centers and graduated 9 of them. But for the last 15 plus years, I've been clean and sober. I don't drink, no alcohol, no drugs, no cigarettes. I don't do any of that. However, every now and then, special occasions, I will splurge and have a Sprite with no ice. That's when I'm living on the edge. But this podcast is really to educate people on life. And like I said, we'll be bringing in different guests to give you their takes. And when I say adversity, it doesn't have to be drug related. Life just presents problems that people need to take a look at. And a lot of times you have nowhere to turn to. Well, I'm trying to give you that place where you can listen to someone else and maybe see yourself or a family member or a relative in the situation. So the bottom line is, I speak from experience. 25 years worth of addiction. I'm very qualified to speak about making mistakes. Matter of fact, I have a PhD in messing up. I mastered it, but I was given a second chance. I'm a spiritual guy. I believe in God. I'm not a pastor, but I do believe in God. And I will always put God first on every choice I make and every decision I make, because I think that's the key to all of this. Making good choices, it starts between the ears. I have 3 things that I really focus on. One thing is, I call it PMA, positive mental attitude. I will go into explaining that a little more detail in some of my podcasts. But positive mental attitude is really just how you look at things. Having a plan. That's the second thing. I like to always emphasize having a plan. If you have a plan, then you got basically a roadmap. I guess a lot of people would call it GPS. And the third thing is you got to have motivation for the first 2. Personally, I call them haters. I feel like everybody that I know got at least one. Oh, I got a ton of them, but I love haters. Haters are my motivation. They are the ones that encourage me to get up and do what I do every day. So like I said, this podcast is basically built on not so much self-help, but just letting you know that you're not on an island and you're not a bad person. You can make some bad choices, but you can bounce back. The key is not to keep making these choices. Learn from your mistakes. I do it all the time. And every day I stay focused because I understand the value of making good choices. Life is going to throw you curveballs. That's just part of the deal. But that's my plan. I want to make sure that people understand I've already made the mistakes for you. You don't got to worry about it. There's not a mistake you can make, a story you can tell me that I probably haven't already experienced or used myself or been through. So I really want to encourage everyone, take a few minutes and check out the podcast, man. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll be beneficial to you. And I always end the same way. Every day you blessed to see is another day in paradise. That's the way I choose to look at life.